Hey, everybody. Welcome into the show tonight. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I see everybody in that chat. I am tickled pink tonight. We're going to have such a fun show. I have a surprise guest here with me tonight. I did not put this person in the show description box. Okay. But we have a very special guest. You guys are going to love it. Okay. We are going to be talking about something that has been in the news. Everybody's talking about this. And these are the kind of targets that I like. Okay. I like all the targets I do for remote viewing. But this one is going to be extra special. We have the Colorado Bigfoot that a couple captured on camera a couple weeks ago, about a week ago, I guess, 2 weeks ago, maybe. And so we're going to see if this thing is real or fake. Okay. What do y'all think? Because I know I have my opinion on it, or I had my opinion on it when I first saw that. And then I was tasked with a target of this. And the data is pretty awesome. It's pretty cut and dry too, by the way. Okay. And so, wow, isn't it cool to have a friend that remote views you guys? Okay. So y'all are my friends. We're going to get some answers tonight. Okay. And I've got my buddy here to help. Get these answers tonight. And so if you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows, everything I'm doing here, even my Spaced Out Radio show over there at Spaced Out Radio. Speaking of which, we got Kira in the chat. Thank you for that super sticker, Kira. You're the sweetest. Kira is one of my Spaced Out Radio star sisters over there. And so, yeah, you guys go to my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. It's down here on the ticker. And you can find all of my shows, all of the events I'm going to be at. And I think I might have just added another one to that list. It's to be announced soon. Okay. Maybe speaking at a Bigfoot conference here coming up. But yeah, I got a festival down in Molina, Georgia. That's November the 18th, I think it's the 18th, down in Molina, Georgia. That's the only thing I've got right now, concrete on my agenda. Okay. As far as speaking events go. But yeah, you guys go check out my website. You can get in touch there. I know I am backed up. I'm so backed up. I got so many people that I need to get in touch with right now and to write back. So I will get to that. I promise y'all. If I hadn't gotten back to you yet, I'm getting to it. All right. Okay. Also, if you'd like to follow along with my remote viewing data tonight, you can join my Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress over on Patreon. I have a great Patreon family over there. Thank you so much for all your support to everybody who is a member. And I have posted 2 targets in there tonight or today. I have the Colorado Bigfoot target, and I also have a bonus target that is a blind target that my buddy Barry Littleton gave me, and it concerns some Cherokee witches. We're going to talk about those tonight because I have my buddy Barry Littleton here in the studio tonight. So you guys strap on your seatbelts. We're going for a crazy ride on the Woo train tonight. Okay, because we're gonna be looking at some interesting stuff tonight. Okay. Also, I do have a shop that's War Woman Goods. If anybody would like to go check that out and buy you some jewelry, that's my little that's my shop over on Etsy. Okay, well, let me give you a little overview of what we're talking about tonight. Okay, on October 8th, a Wyoming couple, Shannon and Stetson Parker, caught a video of what appears to be a Sasquatch while they were riding the Durango and Silverton narrow gauge railroad in southwest Colorado. The railroad runs through the mountains in the San Juan National Forest between Durango and Silverton. And according to Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, or BFRO, there have been 4 Sasquatch reports in the area since 1989. The most recent sighting was in 2008 when a hiker outside Durango spotted a large, hairy figure while on the Crater Lake Trail. Now, everybody's got an opinion on it. If you've seen the video, I'm going to show some pictures tonight. Is it real or is it not? Okay, is it real? Was it a person in a hairy suit, a Halloween costume? Is it a prank, or was that a real Bigfoot? Okay, well, to help me go through this data and to figure this stuff out and to have a couple laughs, I have my friend Barry Littleton here in the studio with me tonight. So please help me welcome my friend Barry Littleton.
What's up, Jessica?
Oh gosh, I just took him off screen. Sorry, my computer's messed up.
Well, there it is again.
Hey, Barry.
Somebody throwing some carrots at me or onions, like on the Apollo, not at the Apollo. What's up?
I don't know what's going on with my buttons. I am so sorry. That was like a glitch. I didn't have a glitch in the beginning, so I had to have a glitch in the middle. I had to have a glitch. It just happened.
Awesome. It's all good. Thank you for having me on tonight, and hello to your audience. A lot of good people out there, so thanks for having me. And this will be interesting. Just let you know something right now. Hey, I think that's real, and I'm gonna get real mad if anybody says anything different.
You think the Bigfoot is real? Are you serious? Okay, well, that's your opinion. Absolutely.
You know I'm not serious on that. That was one of my lame jokes.
Well, we have a very open mind here. We have open minds, okay, and so I like to see all the evidence. I like to look at all the pictures and the videos and all that stuff. Well, this was tasked as a remote viewing target here, and I got to say, Barry, I don't want to give it away right away, okay, but it was very interesting, okay, as a remote viewing target. So yeah, tell me what you know. Had you heard about this right off the bat when it started making the rounds on social media?
You know, I was on Michigan Rob's show, and he asked me about it, and I had not heard about it at that point and had not seen it. To be honest with you, I did not see it until you sent me the link this morning. Oh boy. So no, I could go from there though, what I observed, but until then I hadn't seen it, and I was mistaking it for something that Thinker Thunker was analyzing that was actually the Washington Bigfoot, just walking in the field. And that one it has the right proportions and everything that match Patty and other Sasquatch. But that's a different one. But I thought that's what maybe this was at first. But what she sent me from Colorado was not that. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a little different. And that's a good eye brown dwarf. Brown dwarf says it looks like it has bell bottoms on. Yeah, I noticed that too. The legs are it honestly looked like Chewbacca and the Wookiees from Star Wars. Okay, like I have a picture of a whole bunch of I didn't pull it up tonight, but I have a picture of like a group of Wookiees. Okay, and they have this long, beautiful hair. Okay, and are y'all familiar with Tim Pool? Okay, I know that he did an interview on the news. He's a gentleman up in North Carolina, and he had this video. He was well, it wasn't his video. He was on the news because he had seen a Bigfoot on his property. And while he was being interviewed, I believe my friend Don Tart was there with him. Okay, because he's a friend of Tim's, and Don's a nuclear scientist, by the way, y'all. Okay, and he's on my team, and he was up there with him. Well, he's a very Southern gentleman, you know what I mean, with an accent. Okay, even deep, more pronounced than mine. Okay, and so he is known for having this interview where he's like, I saw this thing. It had long, beautiful hair. Okay, and it had 6 fingers on each hand, and it's one of my all-time favorite interviews about a Sasquatch sighting. Okay, and when I saw this, I thought 6 fingers.
You said 6 fingers. Polydactyl. That's called polydactyl. That's very interesting. Sorry, I'm interrupting. I'm sorry.
Yes, no, it's okay. And but when I saw this video, all I could think of was Tim Pool saying it's got long, beautiful hair. Okay, because it did. The hair just looked way too silky. And I remember Tyler from Journey to Truth podcast contacted me. He sent me a link to the video. And he asked my opinion, and I said, well, it's just his hair is too shiny and pretty, but doesn't mean it's not a Bigfoot, but it's walking like a human to me. And yeah, Long Island Bigfoot. He says that Bigfoot was faker than hubcap spinners. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I was going to say something, when you watch the original Superman 1978 Superman movie, There's a scene in there where it's supposed to be Lois Lane sitting on the train when he's a kid. He's running past the train, and it looks so like really just staged and stuff. She says somebody's running faster than the train. That the way that individual was waiting for that train to come, waiting to duck, waiting to look like they were looking, and then ducking. That was so staged. It was really just so hokey from the very beginning. I just, oh man. And it's stuff like that that discredits this field. And it sucks. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't want to go forward because you got a bunch of data. I don't know what you got yet, so I don't want to say anything.
But I was also looking at the point of it being, it could be real, you know, like at first I was like, well, maybe it's real. Okay. And so I really did examine the video quite a bit, especially the past day. Okay. I've been looking at it. You know, it could be real. It could be like a juvenile Sasquatch, like a tall, lanky one. And, you know, just, but it just doesn't have movements like an actual Sasquatch that, you know, my team's encountered. And so we, you know, there's like let me show some pictures. How about that? Okay. Let's show some pictures to the audience. I don't have the video here, but I do have pictures. Okay. So the couple was on a railroad train. Like this is like one of those fun, like touristy types of rail cars where they have like a passenger cars on it. And it's called the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. It's in Southwest Colorado. Okay. And so they were kind of leaning out, looking out the windows, and they caught a glimpse of something that was blending into the environment. Okay. The woman says, we were looking for elk in the mountains and my husband sees something moving and he can't really explain it. So he's like, Bigfoot. Shannon told the New York Post it was at least 6 or 7 feet or taller. It matched the sage in the mountains so much that he's like camouflaged when crouching down. That was a quote from the lady. Okay, so that was it. This is kind of the background, so you guys can see what it looks like there with the beautiful mountains. And this is what they were seeing. I mean, that's a pretty clear shot right there. It is camouflage, but the way it was moving, it would definitely get your attention if you were looking out the window of that passenger car. Which in my opinion, and in my experience, Bigfoots don't normally go out in the open like that where you're going to see them unless they don't see you. And let me tell you what makes noise. A train. Okay. They make noise. That Bigfoot would have known that train was coming. Okay. Why are you laughing?
I'm sorry. I'll mute myself. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I'll be quiet.
No, it's funny. No, the laughs are great. I love it. And so it crouched down and it sat there like it was kind of trying to hide a little bit for a little while there. So, but yeah, that's what it looked like. You guys go find the video on online if you can. I just can't even show videos on my computer because my entire system would crash if I tried. Okay, so but anyways, that was it. Okay, and so people were questioning, well, was it real or was it not? And there were some heated debates. Okay, and it was even more interesting in my opinion that the media really picked up on the story. Okay, I found a lot of interesting articles online today that the media was really like, oh, Bigfoots can't be real, or can they? You know, that kind of a thing.
Of course,
Bigfoots
they
aren't
picked up
real,
on it.
right?
It's a chance to discredit all the real stuff going on. Prime example.
Okay, well, that's a good point. Okay.
You know, it's interesting because actually, in all seriousness, if I can stop laughing at this, I'm sorry. I did a video some time ago. It's on my YouTube channel under the Sasquatch playlist, and it's Sasquatch and railroads. And the amount of Sasquatch that are actually seen near railroads in terms of ones that are both abandoned tracks, like they're following abandoned tracks, and also hopping on freights going and riding the freights. And I kind of compared that to something that was called FTRA, the Freight Train Riders of America. When I was in college and I did a dissertation on this different gangs and stuff, and then one of them was this Freight Train Riders of America, and it was actually the serial killer part that kicked in with them. There's supposed to be serial killers that were riding on these freights with this group of people, but some of them had reporting seeing Sasquatch on the freights. So I thought it's just interesting, you know. But when dealing with this here, I think is just a little too staged. I'm sorry, I can't. The way it walks through and the way it looks is just, it's kind of funny. The way it stops and the kind of poses and then ducks down. Yeah, that's very ninja-like. You're right. The Sasquatch don't do that. You know, it's just a little too. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely walking like a human to me. Okay, it had like a very human gait, and it was almost. I'm not saying it was like stumbling over itself, but it wasn't very smooth. Like if you've watched the Independence Day footage of the mother Sasquatch carrying the baby, like leaping over boulders. Okay, it's very smooth, very smooth. And so I don't know, just something about it felt kind of off.
To me.
Yeah.
It looked to me like this show that my older brother used to clown me for watching when I was a kid. It was called Bigfoot and Wild Boy. And that looked like Bigfoot from Bigfoot and Wild Boy to me. It looked about like a suit like that. I don't know. Where he goes like this, and he goes flying through the air. Interesting show. But one thing interesting about that corny TV show was they showed the Sasquatch's ability to run extremely fast. They did it in the Steve Austin type of corny way with the sound.
Steve Austin, like WWF?
No, $6 million man.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
No,
I'm thinking of wrestlers, man.
The $6 million man, when he would run, and he did the Sasquatch on Wild Boy. It was similar, yeah. Yeah, it might be. I'm showing my age.
Stone Cold, because I know you like wrestling, so that's where my mind went.
Well, you know the Stone Boss Man, so we're always cool. You know that.
That's right. That's right.
You know the Boss Man, and I do the Big Show. So.
Well, shoot, yeah. That's cool.
He went to my school, college. Anyway.
Midwest Night Watchers.
Anyway, so we're supposed to be talking about fake Sasquatch, not Big Show and Boss Man.
No, well, I haven't said it was fake. Barry. Okay. The data. Okay. So we're going to go over the data now. Okay. Because I know the audience is here tonight to see the data or to hear the data. And yes, Midwest Night Watchers. Gerald likes Bigfoot butts and he cannot lie. Thank you, Gerald. That's okay. And I think that's because someone in the chat had said that they can tell by the butt. That was Area 51. I saw that one. I know I saw you. Okay. All right. So we're going to go over this data now. And all of my data, I have a couple of pages of data here on this. It was so cut and dry that like I didn't go any farther than that. But I immediately was picking up on this target. It was some of my sensory data. I was picking up skinny, moving, red, watching, curious, funny, and materialistic is what I wrote down. Okay. But there's other stuff I wrote down too, but okay. So with my AOL, with like me trying to kind of make sense of what my sensory data, I wrote down played out, the theater. Okay. Theater. Let's see. Let me go down a little bit. Take me away barefoot, beastly. I wrote down Curious George for some reason. Okay. But I picked up a jokester and a trickster. Okay. A jokester, really? Trickster. And then I wrote down worker, employee, badge number. It had a badge, and I wrote down a number, like badge number. Like there was some kind of like official that had like a badge that was like a part of this target. And I wrote down latex material. Okay. So that was my first page.
That's pretty
latex material. Yeah. Okay. I also wrote down, I kept hearing serial numbers. Like I kept picking up on serial numbers. And so I was like, well, I don't know what the heck this is. I'm picking up on serial numbers. I was thinking like top secret clearance or something. Cause I didn't know what I was looking at. But I started picking up on this Queen Herbie song. I love Queen Herbie. She's an artist I think she's out of Atlanta, but I kept hearing the word physique. And then there's a song where she's like, I put the color back in my cheeks or something. And so I wrote down that and put the color back in my cheeks. So I don't know. I literally did not know what I was looking at here. But then I heard why. I clairaudiently heard why, like a question. And then I heard to plug is what I heard. And then I wrote down, okay. So I started feeling disappointed. Okay. I was feeling disappointed while I was doing this. I wrote down I was disappointed. And then I started hearing wind gust and wind blast. And I wrote down turbine, engine, and horn. Okay. So I pretty much like covered like what a train could be. Okay. With the turbine, the engine at the very end there. But I picked up to plug. Now, what does that mean, to like plug a company or like, advertised or something like that. Whatever I was looking at, it was basically a joke. Okay, so if that doesn't kind of answer our questions here as to whether this is real or fake, I'd say it was I'd say that wasn't a real Bigfoot. Okay, and I think
Malarkey,
the data
some BS.
I'm going to go ahead and say this was a fake Bigfoot, y'all. Okay, according to the data, because the data was just too on point for this, and so even with latex, come on, latex, like what? Where would that even come from? And Curious George. Yeah. So
I just made the mistake of looking over in the comments, and I saw comments. I even remember the name. It was by a gentleman named Roger Blair, and it said something like Andre the Giant is in $6 Million Man should look more like Bigfoot than the Colorado did. Man, that's hilarious. and by the way, on that $6 Million Man, the first Bigfoot was Andre the Giant. When he came back for the second episode, the second time he showed up, it was actually Lurch, Ted Cassidy from the Addams Family.
Oh,
it was Lurch that played
really?
the Sasquatch in that one. So they look slightly different. And, even it was
Oh,
his voice at the beginning of the Incredible Hulk too, David Banner. That was Lurch.
oh
Anyway,
wow.
sorry. I'm geeking out on you, but you did
No,
totally
it's
nail it.
perfect.
Yeah, you nailed the data though, really good. And I mean that
Okay,
shows
yeah,
exactly as a blind target how much that is, and the latex, everything, the jokester. But what I found really interesting
trickster.
is you just said, because I've not seen this data, you didn't send it to me, so the
Mhm.
badge part,
I forgot
meaning is that like you had a couple of people that were maybe like, what
a
would they be, like
badge.
rangers or something, or law enforcement or somebody in pulling a joke, a stunt? I'm just asking.
Okay,
I mean, I
so
don't know. It's
I
pretty interesting.
have some more. I have some more data here that I didn't go over every single bit of it, but it seems as though like upon analyzing this data myself, in remote viewing, usually somebody else will analyze your data, but I don't have anybody here with me today to analyze this for me. So I just did it myself today. I analyze it um, before the show. I believe that it was like a stunt. Okay. To get attention, look how much attention this train company, I said the name of this train company at least twice since I've been on air. Okay. So, I mean,
Wow.
they're obviously getting free advertisement off of this, right? I'm not saying they did it, but somebody did. Now there were some
Interesting.
people that were suspicious that there's a campground nearby, and they said that it was probably somebody from the campground that was dressed up in a costume. It could have been somebody at the campground doing this. Now, there are serious Bigfoot field researchers that were out there and did disperse. They did meet up out there and had some meetings and did some Bigfooting after the sighting. I don't think they came up with anything. I didn't hear what they came up with, but we would have heard about it had they come up with something, I think. But who knows? Who knows? I know my team doesn't go reporting everything we see to the general public. So there's no telling. But it's also interesting that BFRO, love them or leave them, y'all, because I see people in the comments that aren't real happy with BFRO. Okay, now I like BFRO. I think they're great. I have never been a member of BFRO though. Okay, but a lot of my friends are, and they are wonderful about like putting out maps, okay, and showing where the clusters of sightings are. Okay, so
Truth.
more power to them, y'all. And I may have some of those maps actually. Let's see if I pulled one up. Hold on, I need to go take that down. I do have like where the most where the most sightings are across the United States. I mean, these are BFRO maps, I'm pretty sure. And so Colorado does not have a lot of Bigfoot sightings, Barry. Now, I mean, they have a lot of trees out there, right? I've never been to Colorado. Have you?
I noticed that on the old maps, that are the other maps that I've seen, that they don't have many sightings in there. Yeah. I found that interesting considering how mountainous it is there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, Georgia's on the map. You see Georgia down there? This Georgia is number 10 according to this map. Now, I don't know what year this map was made, but Florida has a whole bunch. We got Washington State is number 1 right there.
I believe it. I believe it.
Number 2 is California. Yeah. Where's number 3? I'm looking. Number 3 is Florida. And then we got Ohio, of course. And Illinois.
I find it very interesting that Florida's 3. Okay.
Well, they have a lot of skunk apes down there. Okay. A lot of skunk apes. We got Oregon next. I mean, I would think that Oregon was up higher than some of these other states, but even especially Florida. But yeah, Florida has a large chunk of skunk apes down there. Okay, a lot of Bigfoot sightings. Now Georgia has a ton too. Now I just don't know. Like I said, I've never reported a Bigfoot sighting to anybody but the people on my team. Okay, so and they are part of the BFRO. Some of them, most of them got kicked out. So we don't have a lot. We don't have a lot of them. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And I think the thing about BFRO is, and this is the argument that people give, is that they don't report the paranormal supernatural aspect, like with the portals and them disappearing and the UFO sightings and all that stuff. I mean, they used to not, they may now, I don't know. But it's just like MUFON. They don't like including Bigfoot with their UFO reports, So you contact a team like mine. We take all of it. You tell us everything.
Well, you and I know from the work alone and the reports that you do have these different types of them, and some of them are more you're like animalistic or humanoid animalistic compared to these that seem to have these paranormal abilities. And when
That's
dealing
right.
with that is how do they actually manifest that? And I'm never joking when I talk about the aspect of them that kind of correlates in maybe with the Carlos Castaneda and the Toltec material of what a real dreamer is, the warriors that are dreamers, and how they can use the shift the cognitive ability into the dream body and then operate from that. And is that how they're using to manifest? And when we talk about them manifesting and unmanifesting, I know some people clown me because I said I pulled that, especially because how many times, if you start really listening to all these reports, people come up on these things sleeping. They can sometimes crash down people's barns. And as alert as they are and aware of people, why in the world would they ever crash out in front of somebody or in a place like that? But if you're dealing with beings that can manifest themselves in the dream bodies, it accounts for a lot of the super paranormal abilities they seem to have. The dream bodies and Carlos Castaneda's teacher, like Don Genaro and Don Juan, John Crow, whatever you want to call them, different names he went by, but they were the same in terms of they were actually shifting their cognitive full ability into the dream body and then presenting themselves to Castaneda and teaching him and then doing things that were
into orbs. Probably.
Orbs. They weren't turning into orbs. They would just be jumping around on waterfalls and stuff that would make her flying around, levitating things that would make him lose control of his bowels. And they start laughing at him, saying how he couldn't see because he could see that they were energy or dream body moving around. He could just perceive with his senses a cognitive dissonance them as they normally would be, doing things that are like Christopher Reeve unreal. So it's just it's food for thought. I'm not saying I'm right, but it needs to be really brought up because we don't know that much about them, especially the ones that have that human DNA along with whatever this extraterrestrial nuclear DNA is. These things need to be brought up really, and cognitive abilities. We know some of them can do telepathy, telethought. We can't discount all the mind speak. What I received, I can say, was it Sasquatch? Maybe not, but I tell you, it was sure doing a heck of a good imitation. And why? For what reason? These are things that are good food for thought and good discussion and good questions.
Yeah. I mean, we have so many other phenomena that accompany the Bigfoots out in the field, and like we're having a Bigfoot experience. There are orbs, there are UFOs, there are portals, there's all this other weird stuff going on, and flashes of lights in the trees and stuff. I mean, that's something that I haven't really talked about very much, are these flashes of light. Okay. We'll be in the base camp tonight. And I know we're listen, y'all, for everybody who just tuned in, I had a cut and dried remote viewing data overview of that Colorado Bigfoot being most likely fake. Okay. So that's why we're talking about other stuff for the moment, because it was pretty obviously not real. a real Sasquatch, according to my data. Okay. But yeah, we have so many other phenomenon, and we have these flashes of light sometimes out in the field. And a lot of times we've had flashes of light in the base camp, like my friend Keith, who is our wildlife biologist on my team. He's been asleep in his hammock. He's the one that's the Bigfoot burrito. Okay. I like to set up my tent by him, if you guys recall, because when the Bigfoots come into camp at night, they're going to get him and eat their burrito, and they're going to stay away from my big tent. Okay.
That's what I thought you said, Bigfoot. I don't want to say,
Yeah.
did you say Bigfoot burrito?
Bigfoot burrito. Yeah, they like hammocks.
Right.
Yeah. So post up by a hammock if you need to. Okay, because Keith is very brave.
Jessica, I have a question. What do you and your team? What do you think these flashes of light are?
Okay, well that's what I was getting to. Okay, so Keith was asleep one night, and he woke up hearing bipedal footsteps in the camp. Okay, in base camp, and when he woke up, he was laying there observing. That's what we usually do. We don't like jump out and be like, "Gotcha," like we'll try to sit there and we'll observe, we'll listen, and first of all, we got to figure out if it's a human or a Bigfoot or what. And so he's just listening, and there was a flash of light, like boom, like a camera flash went off, and then the footsteps stopped. Okay, so to him, he's explaining all this to us, and we're like, well, okay, could it have been a portal? Okay, did it change? Did it open a portal? Did it close a portal? What could that have been? Was it like a magic wand, like on Men in Black, and it just like hits a button and it's boom, it's gone? But yeah, it was a Bigfoot that there was a flash. There was a Bigfoot in the camp, and then there was a flash of light, and then it was gone. Okay, so that's something to be looked into more, in my opinion. Okay, so and considering that we have portal activity out there, I think there's portals everywhere, but we've had portal activity. Makes you wonder, makes you wonder.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah.
Well, God, I don't want to go too far weird, but I just released a video last weekend, and it was concerning what's called the assemblage point, and also the Mako, which is, I'm not going to go into that, the black holes, and how actually some of the new quantum physicists are showing that actually they think the Mako is connected to the individual molecules of our cells, of our bodies, which takes everything to a whole new level when looking at the ability of like something like what the supposed whistleblower had told me when I inquired from them about the melanin dominant black extraterrestrials they said they'd encountered in the military. And they were saying that the species he encountered, one of them had the ability to teleport across galactic space by just using the cells of their body, the black holes of their body. And they didn't know anything about what I just had mentioned. So this is when dealing with that and the possibility that Sasquatch could actually do something similar. And these flashes of light, is that what that is? Is that the quantum part that Ron Moorhead talks about? It's really interesting.
Yeah.
In between using that and manifesting, and is that also how they would use trees as well, or is it a different phenomenon they're using? You got the ultrasound, the infrasound. There's all these different things going on. Ultrasound. When I was in Washington, #1 spot, and heard them yelling between those mountain ranges, that one lady looks at me and she said, they sounded like whales out of water to me. And I started thinking, I was like, whoa, it kind of made sense. It did kind of sound similar, Once again, food for thought.
Whales out of water.
I don't have the answers, but I got a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's an interesting sound. I mean, there are so many sounds out there that the Bigfoots will make. They don't sound human. They don't sound like an animal. They try to sound like animals, but then I've had some interesting experiences out there where whatever was out there trying to sound like an animal, and that's why it's so important to know like the region that you're investigating and what animals are local. Okay, because you're not usually going to have, like, the head of my team's always said, well, it's not normal to have like a cow in the middle of on top of a mountain or in a swamp or something, and you'll hear like a cow mooing.
I've heard that.
And it's like, wait a second, there's not supposed to be a cow anywhere around here, and so and then it's like a moo, and then it turns into like a whoa, like a laugh, like they were trying to mess with us. You know what I mean? And then they started
The
laughing at
owl
the end.
sounds, the cow
Yeah.
sounds. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. But also owls sound like monkeys too, though. So you have to be really aware of like the sounds out there and all the different calls that the owls make. Owls can throw you off. Okay. I've had owls that sounded like monkeys in the trees, and I thought they were going to jump down and get me. I thought it sounded like monkeys.
You know,
So that
something.
could easily trick people.
You know, something interesting. Like where I was when I heard the owl sounds, it was like I believe they were sounding like, was it gray horned or was it barn swallows? Or either way, it was the type when I looked it up was not native to that area. You know what I mean? So they were purposely, I think, giving little hints there or don't care, but they were really trying to get our attention. And might I say it worked?
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't take much to blow me away.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we got a comment. Area 51 says, "I do not think this was fake," and that's okay. You know what? Maybe it was real. I don't know. My remote viewing data. I'm not saying it's the end all be all. Okay, but the data was a blind target, and it did say trickster and jokester, theater and latex. Okay, within the data. So just listen, y'all. Like I said, I don't have all the answers to this, but this is just a fun little target that we've done, and I do believe it was fake. So, and we're all entitled to our opinion. And I know you're looking at that butt. I know you're looking at his butt, Juan. I saw that comment. Hey, Robbie. Okay, so you know, and Amy's right. I do. I stay in the middle of my tent. Everybody knows that story. My buddy Terry Wendell has. He's with Rock Hill Bigfoot out of South Carolina, and he tells a story about how he was investigating a property, and he was on. I think he was in a tent cot. If y'all know what a tent cot is, or he was in a small tent, and a tent cot looks like a casket to me. Okay, I don't sleep in a tent cot, but he was in a small tent, and something walked up behind his tent, and it stuck its finger through the tent, and it poked him. Okay, and it was a big old finger of a Bigfoot, and so I have learned from that. I put my cot in the middle of my tent, so something's going to really have to crash into it to get to me. But anyways, yes, Kira, I'll take you camping with me sometime, Kira. You got to come to Georgia, okay? I'll take you, but that would be fun. Okay, well, yes. Okay. Well, Barry, we have another target. Okay. So we have like a bonus target that we're going to talk about tonight too. So we've got the Colorado Bigfoot. I do believe, according to the data, that's not a real Bigfoot. Okay. But Barry, you had given me a blind target, and I hit it twice. I hit this target twice, and tell the audience what this target was, if you don't mind. And this is also in my on my Patreon, you guys.
This target was called the Sharp Elbow Witch. Okay, and it's also known as the Two-Faced Elbow Witch. And it's something that I'd first heard about years ago from my friend that was Cree, another friend that was Choctaw. They both had talked about this legend of this sharp-elbowed witch, which they seem to think is actually a physical being. All right. And this is and the reason why I kind of gave you this, because without saying a lot, it kind of reminded me of your infamous spear finger deal. And this is a nefarious being that is known to both find and kill. Yeah. You can't even find a whole lot about it online. It's been adapted by some like gaming and fantasy gaming now. But this starts with Native Americans, their legends. And the thing is, supposedly, it's like the deer woman too. They kill men, try to seduce men, and then in the middle of the seduction, kill them with those elbows. And what's interesting about this is, to me, it reminds me similar to, well, yeah, these knives and the elbows. Look, the few things you'll see, it's all about these knives and the elbows. That's the way they're always portrayed. But what I found, that's a good one. What I found interesting is when you look at that one, you have also that the sharp elbow witch has two faces. And that's similar to the blind target I gave you that was the Kishi, the African cryptid. Remember, the Kishi has
Oh
the
yeah.
animal face on one side and the human side on the other. And then again, what does it do too? If it's not trying to seduce people, it
It goes
murders
after
them or
women.
both. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's
As to where
interesting. And
the, as to
so,
where
and it,
they're the as to where they're that one goes after men. Apparently, it's one of the women one. It goes after men.
oh, it's a woman?
Yeah,
Wait, is
it's a
this one a
witch.
woman
Yeah,
too, or is this a man?
that's a
So
woman.
that's a woman?
Supposed to be. That's all the ones I've read them. They describe them as being women, and they describe the killing men and babies, children,
Oh my
and
gosh.
men. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's another picture
Okay.
that. Yeah, there's another one beside that but it doesn't download well. Like I couldn't
Okay.
find a lot of images of this thing, which is interesting too. I thought, like if
Yeah.
I typed in
That's
Spearfinger witch, a
interesting.
lot more comes up than this one.
Yeah. Well, here's Soul Spearfinger. Okay. So I've talked about Spearfinger before. This is an old Cherokee legend here. And I think that Spearfinger, we may have encountered Spearfinger in the woods before. Okay. On an etheric level, potentially. But yeah, she's out there. Okay. And there she is. She has a long finger that is pointy, and she enjoys eating the livers out of people, particularly children. Okay. And she takes that finger and she sticks it in their back and takes their liver out. Okay. And yeah, she is somebody you don't want to mess with. Okay. You don't want to mess with Spearfinger.
I never heard of this one until you. And might I just say, without saying much, with what you had told me, that maybe that was a little more than just ethereal, don't you think? And it said that something like the elbow witch was once a person and then died a bad death and came back as something different, or didn't fully die
Okay.
and then turned into this thing even more. So that takes us into the zombie potential thing and all the other.
Golly, I have so much to look out for in the woods now, Barry. I got
Well,
witches. I got another witch. I got an elbow witch. Feral people.
Oh yeah. Hey, that was a good show.
Dogman.
That was a
Thank
good show.
you.
I didn't comment in the chat, but I was listening that whole
Thank you.
that whole episode. And I think that people don't want to really acknowledge some of that feral thing. And when I was in college, I had this anthropology class. I can't remember which one it was, but the professor took a lot of time talking about feral people, and all the way dismissing things like what's the Jungle Boy Jungle Book? What was his
Mowgli.
name? Mowgli, yeah. And there was that actor that they said was like the real Mowgli, and he was like a feral person who was raised by wolves or something. And it's getting away from that to those people that had actually in reality broke off grid, but are also doing these things that are incest and things that are just within their own community and living like that. That's a real deal. And I sent you that thing about feral people attacking those people and saying that they were defended by these, what I assume are Sasquatch, larger Sasquatch. Not saying that story was real, but boy, was that not interesting? And
that was really
make
cool.
Something such? Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was really cool.
You notice something that the feral people immediately caught ghosts. Oh boy, that sounds 80s, don't it? Anyway, they ran away when they ran away when the Sasquatch approached. Even just one or two of them, they took off. And then if you hear about what she said about the battle itself, they had those spears and things, but they were no match for those Sasquatch. And how quickly the male immediately got put dust behind them out of the cave, and they destroyed those people. And that sounds like also using perhaps metaphysical abilities to do that as well, slightly to a degree. It's a very interesting story. I thought it was.
Sorry, it does. That was really cool. And I didn't realize that you had posted, I don't check Facebook all the time or whatever, but you had posted that video on October 6th, and I had no idea. I had not seen it. If I had not, I would have asked you to come on that show with me too, Barry, okay, to talk about feral humans. And so, yeah, you sent it to me after you saw that I'd already posted it. Yeah.
That gentleman knew a whole lot. That gentleman knew more than enough.
I had John on.
I enjoyed listening.
Well, thank you.
Sometimes I keep my mouth shut sometimes.
Well,
but
thank
yeah,
you.
that was cool.
Yesterday. Yeah. Well, thank you, Barry. That's awesome. And thank you to Texas Front Porch. We got Tex in the house tonight.
What's
What's
up,
up,
Tex?
Tex? Yeah, thank you for that super sticker. That is so sweet of you. Everybody go check out Texas Front Porch. Y'all go subscribe over there. He's got a great channel. I had a show over there called Remote View and Investigations for a long time on Friday nights. That was awesome. I've always had a lot of fun with Tex and the crew over there. So thank you, Tex. Yeah. So wow. What a yeah, when it comes to all of these the feral humans,
Excuse me.
the witches in the woods, Barry, um I got to make a point here. Okay, when it comes to that person, if that is a hoaxer in a Bigfoot outfit, that is very dangerous. Okay,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
dangerous. Can you imagine wearing a Bigfoot suit? Okay, especially during let's just say hunting season. Okay, there are people. Not everybody is kind to Bigfoots. Okay, and there's some people out there that are going to carry. They're hunters. They are fully armed. Okay, you don't want to go out there playing around in the woods wearing a furry outfit. Okay, I'm just saying. I had to say that. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's
Because
very
people
real. I mean,
get shot doing that.
that's a good way to get killed. A good
Yeah,
way to get
if that
killed.
is if that is a person in a costume, and it may be, according to my data, I do believe that that was a stunt. Okay, I do believe it was a stunt. Advertising, get their names out there, whatever. I don't know. It was a stunt. But that is very dangerous. So I do not recommend to my audience, y'all do not put on a Bigfoot outfit and walk around the woods. Okay, just don't, especially not at night if you can help it. And it's
Yeah,
going to make some Bigfoot researchers mad too. So
yeah. I think it's it's really a shame because it really just muddies the waters for the real research and the real stuff that's going on. It
it
makes
does.
all that many more people not want to come forward. Because the more
True.
I participate in this, the more I'm finding, Lord, how many significant amount of people that spend time in the mountains have seen these things and just started talking about it. Still aren't. You've just got the platforms now where people can mail stuff in anonymously to Bigfoot Case Files or the Bigfoot Project or whoever and talk about this stuff. And only so much of it we can count as liars and delusion. There's some truth in there. A lot of it encounters. And it's and I'm wondering, and you had said something a couple of times, and I heard you say it on the show the other day, and I agree with it. We've discussed it. It was that every individual encounter and sighting and interaction people have with Sasquatch and with UFOs or any of these paranormal cryptid things is actually pushing consciousness forward one person at a time
One
until
Bigfoot sighting at a time.
it
Yeah.
becomes group collective wise. That I thought that's a good statement. I think that's accurate, and it just
Yeah.
doesn't happen with the extreme speed that I want it to happen. Like it's a light switch. I wish it was that quick instead of this great journey that we're going through. But it is what it is, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to say because I really feel that in my heart. In Texas here, in Texas Front Porch, and I always kind of joked around with him and the guys about how we're like therapy group. Okay, it's almost like group therapy, getting to do these shows and having people in the chats. Like we've all had experiences with Bigfoot. A lot of us have, not everybody, but a lot of people have, and it's just a great place for people to come together and talk it out and try to figure some of this stuff out together, because it is traumatic for a lot of people, but it's also taking us outside of this box that everybody's living in, and opening us up to a whole new world outside the matrix. Okay. And okay, so here's the good side of this too. If that person or whoever that is in that, if there's a suit, okay, if it is a person in a suit, I would say that they're getting attention, okay, and it's opening up the world to talk about Bigfoot. Okay, so it's not an all bad thing. I try to see the sunny side of everything. Okay, so if it is somebody playing a joke or whatever, I'm sure they didn't mean anything bad by it. It was for fun. It was for jokes and to laugh and to make people think. And now the world is talking about Bigfoot. We're over here talking about it on the World Wide Web, right, Barry? So yeah, the girl with the gong, the girl in her gong. Thank you for that super chat. That is so sweet of you. Thank you. I appreciate your support. Thank you. But yeah, I think it's a great thing. It's a great thing. I sure as heck wouldn't wear a Bigfoot suit out in the woods, though.
No. I wouldn't. I wouldn't do any of that. And to the point of where, when I was having these experiences, I was obsessed with finding out if I was being hoaxed. And believe me, I couldn't prove it. And if I was, I'll tell you, those are the most ingenious hoaxers ever with the best infrared equipment and all this other stuff they were doing to fool me like that. There's really no point to that deal.
Right.
Not to mention climbing trees to throw some rocks. Who does that?
Feral people.
That's funny.
Dogmen, Bigfoot. There's a lot of things that do that, Barry.
I think they're throwing spears, aren't they? They're throwing spears.
They are throwing spears. I don't know. Yeah.
What did
I'm gonna have to wear body armor next time I'm out there.
They had necklace that had teeth on it. Teeth on it, like human teeth on the necklace. Another one, a necklace that had different bones on it and things, human bones. That isn't too unlike what my professor had told me when he spent time in New Guinea with the head hunters, and a different deal he spent with the head shrinkers. And when he said the head shrinkers, automatically I start thinking about, just from that era, I thought about, was that Beetlejuice, where he takes the little deal. But in reality, he had said that they actually have a way of, they take off the face and then actually boil it in this concoction that actually shrinks the skin. And the skin, it retains the shape of your face, and they wrap it around these poles. These are wooden poles, and they wrap that with a human face on it, and they wrap your face around that pole. Little pole looks like you. And he tells me the chief that he stayed in, him and his wife stayed with the chief, and he said, on the side of his tent or whatever, he had these 2 bags of these poles. I was looking at this man like, okay, man.
Yeah.
All right. What do you say? That's a lot worse than Beetlejuice, but whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Different culture. But when looking at these things and comparing to what we're hearing about these feral people, it doesn't make it that preposterous, does it?
It does not. It does not. MPW, thank you for that super sticker. I appreciate that very much. Yes. We have Jorgen in the chat tonight. What's up, Jorgen? I haven't seen you here live in a while. You're from across the world. Thank you. I got to give a huge shout out to all of our international friends that are in the chat tonight. You guys rock.
I got to say, this is impressive. I'm trying to look at this chat. It's just flying. It's flying.
I know.
Really good, intelligent stuff, too. It's not any hecklers or anything like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, no hecklers, not yet. I don't know. Michelle, that's right. The guy that was taking the video, just the way he was talking sounded bored. Like you think he'd be more excited. That's right. Yeah. The reaction was kind of like lackluster, right?
Yeah, Michelle Grimmer. Yeah, I agree. I read micro expressions and gesture clusters, body language, and his micro expressions were off. His general body language was just off. I mean, it didn't seem to anybody like, I had to shut down my TikTok because people were blowing me up, and it didn't seem. I really wish it wasn't like that. It seemed completely staged to somebody that, I don't know. Everything. The micro expressions of the face only happen for like less than a millisecond, and unless you're like a really trained actor or a trained politician, it's really hard to disguise a lot of the micro expressions. His were just off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You got to pay attention. It's the little things, okay? It's little things. And Jennifer Patterson, thank you so much for that super chat. That is very sweet of you. I appreciate that too. Thank you for all you do to deliver the truth to us. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for being here to listen to it. I don't know. I mean, it's remote viewing data. It's the truth as I know it, okay? So like I always say, you guys use your own discernment with all this, and I don't ever think that I'm the end all be all, but yeah, we're just putting out what we know to everybody, okay, and having a really good time doing it. So yeah, so thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is one of my favorite things to do is like remote view this stuff and just to get an idea, because when something feels off, it's probably off. All right. And so that's why I like to let everybody know, please go with your gut, y'all. Go with your gut. If you feel like something's off, it's not real or whatever. I mean, do your research on it and call your remote viewing friend. I'll look into it. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
You
What's
know,
up, Barry?
somebody asked something. Well, it's going so fast, I can't keep up. But somebody asked a question like, "Do we think that when we keep going so much that we can't catch up with ourselves in terms of existence, or something like that?" They were asking. And you know, I think that although I think that our existence is more linear than we give credit to, especially in this body now. And when I say linear, I mean cognitive perception wise. But when I get somebody really hypnotized and take them really, really deep to like deep theta, which is almost delta, but delta's a little too deep, is what they can actually access in terms of past life regressions at the soul level with the creator, the stuff they can see, the souls that they can identify that are right here, like at the place of translation and reconfiguration, souls that they have agreements with. And they say that, you know, and it's not contracts. I've never heard that word expressed yet. It's always these agreements. We're helping each other. And, you know, then they can identify these certain souls that incarnated not just this lifetime, but the past ones too. Now, I'm sad to tell you, sadly, sometimes it's these people that screw us over. And it's scary that you have this, you divide over self with these others saying, "Hey, I want to have a deal. I need you to screw me over for a couple of lifetimes so I could really get the point." You know, that kind of sucks, but hey, it is what it is. It's a choice. And I've said this a few times on here now, but I think it's really important people are aware of that, because we hear all this conflicting negative stuff, and we're down here on a prison planet, more or less. So keeping, I think, our never mind. I'll be quiet. But I mean, just it's important that really we stay aware and that we keep our vibration up. We keep our awareness of the creator and the love frequency up, and we stay protected. And then, you know, when this body ends, there are other potentials, things that happen. And right now, our existence is maybe linear cognitively, but it's not on the soul level. On the soul level, it's immortal. Whole other thing going on.
Oh, wow.
At least close to it.
That's
Anyway.
right.
So close to it, yeah.
Yeah.
When we deal with
Donna
quantum entanglement.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
yeah.
I'm done.
Lot of everything's quantum entangled, Barry. It seems like, especially Bigfoot. Okay, so and Ask Ron Moorhead. Okay, that's my favorite book, y'all. By the way, if you're looking for a really good book on, have you read it, Barry? It's amazing.
No, only some
Bigfoot.
parts of it, not the whole thing straight through. Only parts of it.
You got to read Quantum Bigfoot. It's the best book written on Bigfoot, hands down, in my opinion. I told Ron at one point when I had him on my show, and I was like, you know, if I was to write a book on Bigfoot, it would have been this book. Exactly what you write.
It must be really cool to meet him. I wish I could meet him sometime.
Yeah, he's a good
seems
guy.
Like really, really, he's like one of the last originals, right? Al Berry and all those people are deceased now, right?
Yeah, Al Berry is. Yeah, there's a bunch of Bigfooters out there that just aren't in the spotlight.
Speaking on this real quick, I just mentioned that these other souls that are doing these past life regressions. I had somebody, a very special person, that had a regression with me recently, and they identify one of these souls that's with them that doesn't always incarnate, but the last time it did, it incarnated as a type of the Sasquatch that's coming in this individual's dreams.
Mm-hmm. So
one time or another, this spirit had incarnated probably on this planet as some type of a Sasquatch. There's a connection there. So that's fascinating. How many times now in my regressions, a Sasquatch type of being has happened a few times, has come up. And believe me, I'm not leading saying, "Hey, do you see a Sasquatch out there?" That's not, is your guide a Sasquatch? That's not how it works. It just happens. And it's amazing because the guides always present themselves during a past life regression, especially live between lives is what it's called. They always present themselves. And sometimes there'll be a Sasquatch or something even different. They're not always a humanoid taking the person to an office. Sometimes there's something different. Just food for thought again. I don't make the rules. I just observe them.
Yeah, right. That's right. Okay. Wow. So I could have been a Bigfoot in a past life. I think I was. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I was a dog woman. Just kidding. I don't know. I mean, okay. So I've also heard this theory. Okay. Now this is on the woo train, y'all. Okay. Y'all ready? Choo choo. Here we go. Okay. So I've heard that, okay. Some people say that I don't even know how to say this out loud. It's in my head. Okay. But some people have incarnated this lifetime who have been in previous lifetimes, Sasquatch, dogmen, whatever kind of, I've just heard Sasquatch and dogmen, but some people are here because I say we like it's me too. I don't know. I'm not saying it's me, but some people have bloodlines of being part of like a Sasquatch lineage. Okay. And they're here as humans this time, like advocating for these cryptids and stuff, which is interesting. I don't know. There's people that think that. So it's food for thought. And that would lend credibility. Okay.
I've encountered that, or individuals who go back to certain tribes that had trading agreements with Sasquatch, and they'll start saying that, well, we can't trust them. They're horrible traders. And I'll ask why. They said, well, one is they come and steal our fish. They steal things. They give us little things like obsidian and little pieces sometimes, but they're more steel. They don't want to learn how to make the things to gather any things that we're trying to teach them. So they describe that a lot, and then how they start, abducting people and other things like that. And it's very interesting when you have somebody actually saying that. And so it leads me to try and identify what type of Sasquatch is it. Is it type 1? Is it type 2? Type 3? You know what I mean? Sometimes they'll say it's like what to me sounds like type 4, which are the ones that are more humanoid. The big, almost, what is it?
Well, wild man.
Neanderthal type. You know what I mean? So it's just like I said, again, this is food for thought, but I've had people in regression going back to that. And so, and then when you can go to some of the guides that come forward that appear to be on a more celestial celestial form. And I said before, the original blueprint for humanity is supposed to be the Adam Kadmon. What is the original blueprint for the Sasquatch blueprint? What is it called? What is that? Is that what I saw when this client tells me they're in front of this Sasquatch on board a galactic ship that's looking at universes, but it's something much bigger, a 12-foot tall Sasquatch with this uniform on.
Oh,
and
wow.
as you said, very groomed hair, so,
long
like I said,
beautiful hair.
Yeah. And this goes back thinking about just this planet before the floods, when this was a type 1 civilization, you had Sasquatch would have been part of this galactic trade thing we're doing. I don't think it was the great hiding that there is now, this epic, after the last 9,800 years, after that last flood, the ending of the Ice Age. So again, sorry, I don't want to get too weird here, but these are things as far as our existence and the way we may have existed, not even just transmigration of the soul, but more in terms of humanoid frames and awareness and the different parts of our divine overself, our God self that is here to experience things, how much they've reincarnated as. You may find in a past life regression, like this special person I mentioned, instead of saying that they incarnated back on Earth, they back incarnated on Mars. And they're describing insects of different types, like Tony Rodriguez. Food for thought again, and no matter how many of these I do now, I sit here and I'm blown away. When I do these, whether it's virtual or in person, I'm blown away every time. I feel brand new. And I think that's the fun of it. And what maybe I think it's the Christian Bible that says you have to be as of children to get back into the kingdom. I think that's that religion. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but I think that's maybe what it means. You have to have that wonder.
That's right. Well, if I haven't been a Sasquatch in a past life, I will be in a future life. I promise you. I'm going to come back as a Sasquatch or a dog woman. I think a dog man would be kind of cool. I don't know. It's so much more mysterious.
You want to be a galactic trader of body parts?
No, I didn't say that.
I've heard that a few times about dog people. I've heard that about dog men. The ones that are seen that are not all native in the wilderness, the ones that are seen supposedly on these craft, and these people say that I've been told that they were traders of body parts. That's what they do. I'm not saying that's real. I'm just telling you what I've heard.
Do you remember that? There was a target that I did, that old Green Eyes one that was like a really kind of dark and demonic kind of thing that was on that battlefield. I was picking up in the data that was in the data. It was like galactic body part trading. It was in that data. I'd never even heard of that before, but that was part of the data for that cryptid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that adds another element to it because I've never heard. I don't remember you talking about this before with anything
Oh,
but old green eyes.
well, I won't say any names, but the individual is on me like white on rice. We talked for hours, one-on-one, several times. And that's what I asked him, what do you know about Dogman? Give it up. And that's they said that they were intergalactic traders of body parts. And for some sects of them aren't even allowed to come to Earth, is what they were saying. But some still come here, and then you've got offshoots of that going back. So, when you start looking, and I can't say that would be connected to like Anubis, because to my primitive understanding, Anubis looks more like a jackal, and is more of a jackal type of a creature. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert, but nonetheless, food for thought. And you're dealing with so many different types. Doing extraterrestrial regression for somebody that's having contact experiences, all right? And they get a lot of screen memories. If a person's having negative experiences, they get these screen memories. So they're getting taken from their home several times, and they can only just remember floating, looking down at their house and other things. Then all of a sudden being around these doctors. These doctors that are doing like experiments types. And then there are these other people beyond the glass that aren't working on them, but they're supervising. And instead of doctors, what these really are several different types of extraterrestrial species. And when they see them the first time, they look over and glance, they've seen them. But then it fades away with these phantasmagorical images, this holographic technology, whatever they're using to trick people. When I zoom in on this and go through the screen memory, the person looks at these beings over here that are directing things, and one of them is a very large looking eagle type of being. Okay. The other one looks like an octopus, the head. Okay. The other one looks like a dog man. And the individual described it to me as very much looking like a German shepherd head, and said it had on clothing that was almost not quite medieval. I said, is it Egyptian? Similar, but even different than that. Stuff like this, you can't just make up for people that aren't into this stuff. It's very fascinating to hear that, and to hear these different types of beings that are here running this craft. Well, what are they doing? They're taking, semen, genetic, and they're also trying to place our souls in some of these cloned bodies and seeing if they can do that, and if they can make it multidimensional. I mean, this stuff starts getting so deep that I sit back and go, whoa, what?
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, it's so much more valuable to me than just hearing stuff in the media and the same regurgitated stories, the same regurgitated information. So much of our history is hidden from us. You know what I'm saying? So much of it. In fact, like 90% of it, good Lord. What happened here when really this was a type 1 civilization, maybe type 2, Sorry, I'm getting all carried away and excited. It's getting late, so I'll shut me mouth.
No, don't be sorry. It's all good. Look, everything, all sorts of stuff's been hidden from us, and it just absolutely 100% blows my mind. Every time I do these shows, some of my favorite shows. I mean, all my shows are my favorite. Okay, but some of the more like different shows, like that aren't just cryptids, like that I've done with the old world fairs and the human cloning and stuff like that. It's wild. I mean, it's a hole of the rabbit hole. It's a portal, not a rabbit hole. Okay. It's like I dug down into the portal. I dove into the portal, not the rabbit hole on these things. And because there's an obvious cover up and human resets. And it's like our memories have been wiped as a civilization. And
I try not to go too far into the conspiracy thing, but by factual data, and I don't want to repeat myself too much, but you've discovered these underground labs. It's not just talk, and these dark labs. Even compared to what we said about the chupacabra, how you saw the storm, just like John had saw the storm, And this was a blind target you had, this thing that hit Puerto Rico. I was able to actually date the time the chupacabras showed up. What was it, 95? The stories of them started. And then there's actually that hurricane that happened in 95 that hit Puerto Rico and set these things out and destroyed this lab, whatever part of it that let these things out. I mean, that was backed up by what you saw. That was totally independent. And that's, that counts. That's impressive, but it's real. And I've said it before. It shows this cloning, this underground stuff, these chimeras, whatever you want to call them, has been going on for not just thousands, but probably millions of years here. Now you just got the new wave of it, the Illuminati stuff and all that, and all the people that are in on it now.
Okay, well, speaking of which, this is it's interesting that you brought that up, because I did a blind remote viewing target for my buddy, Arkeem Ra. You know him too. We met him at the Journey to Truth conference. I went up to New York with them. He tasked me with a blind target, and he just told me what the target was today. And we're gonna go ahead and do a show next Thursday night with this target that he gave me. You guys will be familiar with him. I had Arkeem on my show. He's part of he was a super soldier with the secret space program, and super fascinating guy. Okay, and he's become a good friend of mine. And so he's coming on the show next Thursday night. I have remote viewed a secret underground cloning facility, I believe. Okay, and there's a whole lot more to it than that, but it's going to be it's actually the last show before Halloween, y'all. Okay, so we're going to give you something really good. We're just going to pack a punch next Thursday night for this remote viewing show, and Arkeem will be here with me next Thursday. So yeah, and I knew that whatever he was going to give me was going to be very dangerous potentially. Okay, and yeah, it did not disappoint you guys. It's going to make for a good show on Thursday. Okay. But yeah, it's these underground bases, Barry. I did that target for Tyler Koala with Journey to Truth podcast. It was level 27 of Area 51, right? So we got Area 51 in the chat. You may be familiar with it, but yeah, Area 51. It was an underground base, and it had ties to inner Earth. Okay, so we're finding all this. I'm remote viewing it. Also, when I'm doing these dogman targets, these blind targets looking for cryptids, there's underground facilities with chimeras and human cloning factories and stuff. So, and I'm still here to talk about it
forever.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you start looking at Greek mythology and things like that. You got it goes so deep especially Greek mythology. I think that's a big one. You see so many different types of example of quote unquote chimeras, whether it be the sirens or the original Sphinx was supposed to be the head of a woman, the wings of an eagle, and the body of a lion. Is that right? And it would swoop down on people and ask the question, what walks on, on 4 legs in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and then 3 at night? And the answer was man. Man crawls in the morning, or in the early part of its life, human on 4 legs. Then we walk in the middle part of our lives. Then in death, in old age, we walk with the cane. That's 3. And I think it was it Odysseus that answered that, and the Sphinx flew itself over and hurled itself into the rocks. You got the Minotaur, the Labyrinth, all these things that keep coming up again and again. All the way down to the representations on Sinbad, right? Those are good movies. Yeah. But I think that, the reality of that is scary.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually made a statement yesterday on my show about the feral humans, is that we were talking about Romulus and Remus, the 2 children that were raised. Romulus went on to found Rome and so conquered the world basically. Okay. But he was left for dead with his twin brother, and found by a she-wolf and suckled by the she took care of them until they could be found by humans. Okay. But it's a mythological story. Is it a mythological story, Barry? I don't know. A lot of these stories, you got to wonder, are they really mythological stories, or did they really happen? We're just told they're not. They're mythological.
Good question. That kind of sounds a lot like the Mowgli thing there. But I mean, when you say that, when you say Romulan, I think Romulan Empire as far as Star Trek. Sorry, can't help it. Anyway, never mind. You know, I think when dealing with especially humanoids that would come from somewhere like TRAPPIST-1e, or there's another, gosh, I can't remember the name, but there's another exoplanet that's in the Goldilocks zone that's near a red dwarf star also. And you start dealing with this and the type of, you know, potential beings that would live there. You know, the whole thing with, like, let's say, like, I'm doing a video, I haven't put it together fully yet, I'm about to film it, about Sasquatch and speed. And just some things I find interesting. I think somebody tried to correct me that they can only go 45 miles per hour, not 50. Well, I've heard reports of them doing 50, even 60. And people, they're saying they're running along these cars. To me, it sounds like these birds flying along cars. It's the same type of thing. So that, and also how they're able to leave these different densities in the tracks. That would be something similar to, like, there's a book that's called The Science of Superman. I'm not a big Superman fan, but I like the comics always. But this is taking it scientifically. Why does he have the powers he have, and how many of them would hold up when dealing with an individual that would be from a red star that would be much more dense, and also about 4, 5, 6 times the density of gravitational density of Earth. So what would that be? And some things that book would say, like, the problem is, he would actually, when he stepped down, came to Earth, stepped down, he would step down and go to the center of the Earth with that type of density. But guess what? He can control his gravitons.
His graviton.
And
I know the gravitron.
Those other things. But taking the joke out of it and the comic Christopher Reeve thing out of it, when dealing with Sasquatch, if they're from a different density or origin of another planet that's more dense, is that why they have some of these capabilities as well? Some of the extreme speed. And when I say that, I urge everyone to look at M.K. Davis's Whitey's Run with enhanced in footage or whatever. That's what it's called. He did 3 of them. The last Whitey's Run. That's one that when I was getting hit by this elder, I kept looking at. I got guided to. And watching this thing, number one is it starts off walking like a cow, the size of the cows. Then it stands up. And for what reason, I don't know, it does a back stand against the tree that flips back and then takes off like a bullet going across the thing all the way to that creek. It's lightning fast.
It makes me wonder if it's a dog man.
No, this is a white Sasquatch, albino Sasquatch.
Oh, white Sasquatch. Okay.
He had it on other ones too. And it's on that place in Paris, Texas, that they were putting the mirrors up and catching them in the mirrors.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, it's fascinating to see that thing moving like that. It's a real sign of them moving fast like that beyond human ability by far. And some of the things they're capable of doing, just scaling up rock cliffs and things like that. Where does their frame originate at? They're much more built for this environment than we are. That's for sure. Humans can't do nothing hardly, man.
I know, right? Well, some of us can. I don't know. It is. It is. Well, that's really cool though. And and I was actually doing an interview with Linda Eastburn, actually, I believe. And you guys go check out her show. It's her YouTube channel is it's Linda Eastburn on YouTube, y'all. I just did it. Like I said, I just did an interview with her. And she asked me, she said, well, did anybody catch that? Whatever ran up behind me and knocked my legs out behind me. She was like, what do you think that was? And I was like, well, the guys were explaining to me that, at that time that Bigfoot can cloak and there was no sign of anything because the guys didn't catch anything in their FLIRs. They didn't see it. But my explanation to her was like, well, maybe it just runs really fast or something, there's no telling. It could be cloaked and it just doesn't show up in your thermal imaging camera. Or maybe it's just really fast. I don't know. I felt it. It felt like a human though. So it wasn't
that's
like
the
super
question. Fast. Do you feel that Sasquatch can cloak themselves from infrared?
Probably. Whatever ran up behind me was not seen in any of the night vision equipment that anybody had. Nothing. And everybody had different stuff. FLIRs, thermals, you name it. Okay. So, There's nothing
Food for
there.
thought. What do trees look like on infrared with your equipment?
White, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, can you not differentiate trees on the infrared itself with heat signatures?
I mean, it all kind of looks the same to me. I mean, it just depends on the heat. I mean, it looks like trees. You can see trees. You can 100% see trees. But it's not like it all blurs together or anything like that. It's very crisp.
But if they were emitting the same frequency as a tree, they wouldn't stand out on infrared. I got you. I'm just throwing things around in my head. That's all.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because
If
I
it had
think.
you know, what if they could regulate their body temperature? That would be interesting to like be the same as a tree. Is that what you're saying?
Wouldn't it be? Yeah, I mean, partially, yeah, or even more than that. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's fascinating. You know, what these beings are capable of. Those that are not just the type 2 flesh and blood. I think it's fascinating. I think it's a great deal we have to learn from them, and especially from that nuclear DNA. What is it? Where is it from?
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shucking it down with cornbread. What's up, buddy? Yeah. So Sasquatch can detect any electronic devices. I 100% agree with that statement. That's correct. I believe so. Yeah, I do. And they can also see those infrared lights.
How do you all think that they do it? How do you think they detect them?
It's the frequency.
Don't just throw it out there. They can detect it.
It's a frequency. It's a frequency. They just detect that frequency. It puts off some sort of it emits some kind of frequency.
You know what my buddy Tom said, and it's kind of interesting. He said, I kind of agree. That's what I kind of always thought, that they can hear them, not just see them, but they can really smell them too. Smell not just the oil equipment on them, but also the human scent on them as well. I think that's really interesting when thinking about that. So frequency, we could say that too, but I think maybe it's even more home senses than that. I agree though. Why they can't be caught on camera and these game trails and all these other things. You know, I've seen a couple of drones that have things walking in the forest. It looks kind of weird, but even that is it's not a definite. So I would agree.
Yeah. Gwynny, that's a cool statement. Says, I have a video of 2 cloaking and walking away from the teepee structure in the local elementary trail area. Wow.
Hey, can we get a link? I'd like to see Can we get a link? I'd like to see it.
A link? You want to get a link?
Yeah. Can we get a link? Yeah. Can you put up a link or something?
Link. Go to my website please? If you've got that.
I'd love to see it.
Go to my website and send me a message, Gwynny. Okay.
See, there's all these people that have this evidence. Just like our friend that's got those aliens running around and no one's seen it. Everybody's holding the evidence.
Everybody has different reasons, though, Barry. Okay, everybody's got all this proof and nobody's
showing it. We got to break that. That's a block.
They're showing
it. That is a block.
They're showing it. My buddy, who showed him, and I almost gave his name away. My buddy, who has that video, he'll show it one day. He's gonna come on my channel. I'm gonna go ahead and state that right now. He's gonna come on my channel. We're gonna release that. That's the real
deal. I mean,
that's the real deal. Like Holyfield. You guys want to see real aliens? We got a video of real aliens. We just got to. We got to convince my buddy to come on the show and show it. Okay.
I mean that. Yeah. It was flabbergasting, mouth dropping.
It was. Yeah, I still think about it. He
went out and showed it to me like 5 times. I was like on it, like, man, you know what I mean? My eyes were burned out of vitamin D looking at that thing so close. I was like, man, that's yeah. But I think there's a lot more, even more people than that have real good evidence that are so scared to show it right now for persecution, for being called crazy, or just having Uncle Sam or a big brother come and get them. Become targeted.
Well, people worry about that.
That's really happening. So.
It is. Well, I obviously have quit giving a crap because here I am talking about all this stuff every single show I go on. So, yes, I put the full armor of God on every morning, y'all. Okay. And with all your continued prayers and support, I'm Lord willing, I'm still here. Okay. And so is Barry. So, man, this has been a fantastic show tonight, Barry. Tell everybody where they can find you because you have an awesome YouTube channel and a Patreon. So if you'll tell my audience, that would be awesome.
Anybody want to meet in person, I'll be in about 3.5 weeks at Las Vegas Stairway to the Stars convention conference from November 9th to November 13th. And it's a good place to meet people in person. I've never been to Vegas. I might even go play some blackjack or something. I don't really gamble. But anyway, also you can check me out on YouTube. My website is barrylittleton.com, but I don't do much on there. I'm going to try to step it up. But YouTube is the main place to catch me, or on Patreon. YouTube is just Barry Littleton, no handles or anything. If you decide to go subscribe, help me beat the shadow banning,
algorithm,
please check out the playlist. Many videos on the playlist that you won't see on just a normal scroll through. Thank you all. I appreciate you. And thank you, Justin.
Well, thank you for being my surprise guest tonight. I did not announce that you were coming on tonight. So thank you, Barry. It's always so fun hanging out with you. I know Area 51 enjoys you being here with me because he says that we're the GOAT together.
Well, thank you.
So
thank you, that Area 51.
Yes. That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thanks.
Juan. Thank you to everybody.
Very cool. Nobody even threw any onions at me. So thank you.
Tomatoes this time.
They throw carrots. They throw carrots. Sorry.
There's too much other drama going on in other places. People come here to get away from the drama. Okay. Yes. We just have fun over here, over at the Cryptid Huntress channel. Yes. Susie B did put your link down there. So it's in the chat, everybody. And yeah, Barry does have some shadow banning, and so everybody, y'all, please go subscribe, okay? And yeah, you guys, please come see me this weekend. I'm going to be over at Spaced Out Radio. Y'all can find me there every Saturday and Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central. I have the Horror Chronicles podcast coming on. I've got Ryan and JT. They're going to be my guests this Saturday night. We're going to be talking about some super spooky, scary stuff. I'm not even sure what we're going to talk about yet, but it's going to be awesome. So you guys, please come see me. No, they have a podcast. They love horror movies, like scary movies. Okay. And
that's cool.
They have a podcast where they just talk about really scary movies and really funny movies. They're hilarious. I have so much fun with them. Cool.
Let's check that out.
Yeah, they've been on Spaced Out Radio before. I actually met both of them through D.A. Roberts. Actually introduced me to them, I believe. I think we were all on a show together. So, and we had Robbie in the chat tonight. Robbie Rains from over at DAX Machina podcast was in here. And his podcast is What's Really Out There. So y'all go check him out when you get a chance. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, Barry, thank you again for being here. You guys, long story short, I believe, according to my data, that was a fake Bigfoot in that video in Colorado. All right. And that's the final word. Everybody have a great night. I will see you guys this weekend at Spaced Out Radio. Thanks again for all those super chats and all your support, you guys. I love y'all. I'll see y'all Saturday. Bye, y'all. Bye, Barry.